Hi there. You're listening to English Podcast for Beginners, your friendly guide to learning English step by step. Let's learn, practice, and grow together.
Welcome back to the deep dive. So, if you've ever really tried to get fluent in another language, you probably know that feeling, that frustration.
Mhm.
You ace the grammar, you build up your words, but then, you need to speak fast naturally, and your brain just freezes. It wants to translate everything first.
Right. It's like hitting a wall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And most of us think, okay, the only way past this is like expensive immersion trips or finding that perfect, super patient conversation partner.
Yeah, the usual suspects.
But the material we're looking at today, it kind of flips that whole idea on its head.
It really does. This deep dive comes from a very practical guide, and it's all about weaving English practice into your actual everyday life at home.
At home, okay?
Yeah, think about waking up, doing the laundry, making dinner. These ordinary moments become really effective low-stress practice zones. So our mission here is to pull out the nuts and bolts of this approach.
Okay.
The idea is to help you, the listener, stop translating in your head and actually start thinking in English consistently.
It sounds almost too simple.
Yeah.
But the source makes this really strong case, almost a psychological one, for why your home is the best place for this. Why is your own living room better than, say, a formal class, at least for this stage?
Well, what's really interesting is that the biggest block to fluency often isn't grammar, It's about consistency and feeling safe.
Psychological safety.
Right, exactly. Your home gives you both, tons of it. You can practice daily, multiple times a day. There's zero pressure, no audience judging you.
Okay.
And crucially, this method uses what we could call cognitive anchoring. You link English words directly to physical things you do all the time, like opening the fridge.
Okay, so the action itself becomes the anchor.
Precisely. Or folding a shirt.
Mhm.
You connect the words straight to the action, cutting out that translation step from your native language. You're basically training your brain to associate open fridge with the actual movement and concept.
Okay, let's unpack this. So if we're going all in on this immersion at home idea, where does the guide say to start? Not with complex stuff, I assume.
No, not at all. It starts literally the moment you wake up. That's framed as the very first chance. Your brain's kind of shifting gears, receptive.
Right.
The idea is just to start thinking or even whispering really simple sentences about what you're doing or feeling right then.
And the examples they give are, super simple. They focus on that present progressive tense, right?
Yep.
For things happening right now.
Perfect for it.
So you could just think or say quietly, I am waking up. I feel a little tired, but I will start my day. Something like that. It states the feeling, sets an intention.
Exactly.
Or when you actually get out of bed, I am getting up. I am opening the window. The air feels fresh. And this taps into those learning theories like TPR, total physical response, even if it's just you.
Yeah, absolutely. Embodied cognition, PPR. By linking these simple English sentences directly to the physical action feeling your arm lift to open the window, you create these immediate, non-translated links.
You feel the language in a way.
You're performing it physically, and bam, you're bypassing that awkward translation loop that slows everyone down.
That makes a lot of sense. You're not trying to remember some abstract word for tired. You're just labeling the actual feeling you have right now. Okay, so moving through the morning, the bathroom, that's like peak repetition zone, right?
Totally. It's ritualistic. The actions are the same every single day. So the guide says, okay, verbally describe these core tasks in English. So the classics. I'm brushing my teeth. I am washing my face.
I am combing my hair.
Yeah, those universal actions.
And you're basically building like muscle memory for the language, automating those common phrases so they just happen.
Precisely. You're cementing these really common verbs, linking them to the physical memory, and you're reinforcing that basic sentence structure, subject, verb, object, which you need for more complex stuff later, all while looking in the mirror, zero stakes. Okay, so that gets us through the morning prep, which brings us to section 2, fueling fluency, breakfast time. Kitchen tasks. We're moving from body actions to object interactions now.
Yeah, and this is a great linguistic step up. The kitchen just naturally brings in vocabulary for tools, ingredients, actions, processes. It's a vocabulary jackpot, like you said.
Definitely. So making a simple breakfast, you've got a sequence. I am making breakfast. I am boiling water.
I am preparing coffee. I am cutting bread. These are the verbs of just living at home, aren't they?
They really are. But here's where it gets really interesting. The guide says don't just stop at describing the doing, the preparation part.
Okay.
It pushes you to describe the finished product too. and how you interact with it. This is where you move from just labeling actions to subjective description.
So not just I am eating toast, but something more evaluative.
Exactly.
You're encouraged to say things like, my breakfast is simple, or it tastes good. Maybe I feel ready to start my day.
Mm.
Okay, that's adding layers, adjectives, feelings.
Right. You're connecting the physical thing, the food, to your internal state, how you feel. It makes the learning much richer, more meaningful. You're practicing linking sentences together, not just isolated phrases.
That's a really neat bridge from basic labeling to more of an internal narrative.
Mm.
But hang on, this raises a question I bet a lot of listeners would have. If I'm just talking to myself all day, maybe making grammar mistakes, doesn't this just cement bad habits?
That is a really, really important point. And yes, practicing in isolation does carry that risk, reinforcing errors.
Right.
But the source material anticipates this. It suggests ways to integrate self-correction, often using external input, which we can touch on more later. The initial goal is frequency, getting the reps in. Accuracy comes partly from that, partly from other techniques. Okay, good. So let's talk chores. Section 3. Chore communication. These are things we often have to do. They're repetitive. Perfect practice ground. Absolutely genius for practice because you already know the task inside out. You don't need brain power for what you're doing, just for how to say it in English.
Maximizing language focus, minimizing task focus. Got it.
Exactly. So for cleaning, stick to simple descriptions, maybe add a bit more detail. I am cleaning the table quickly.
Or maybe why. I am sweeping the floor because it is dusty. Yeah, I am washing the dishes. And then maybe a conclusion, the room looks better now. That action-object-outcome flow is really useful.
Okay, and connecting back to the accuracy point you just made. How does the guide suggest we check ourselves while doing chores?
This is where pairing the activity with external input comes in. Say you're cleaning. Maybe you have a podcast playing or an audiobook.
Sure, lots of people do.
Perfect time to use the shadowing technique.
Ah, shadowing. So you're listening to a native speaker while doing something mindless like washing dishes, and you try to literally repeat what they say, mimicking the sound, the rhythm.
Exactly, even if you're just muttering it.
Mm.
That immediate repetition provides a crucial accuracy check, especially for rhythm and intonation. It stops your internal practice from going completely off the rails grammatically. You get instant feedback on how English sounds.
Which is often just as important as perfect grammar for being understood,
Right.
right? Often more important for sounding fluent, yeah. And then for cooking, that's another big one. Especially if you enjoy it and spend time on it. Huge vocabulary boost there.
Right, ingredients, tools, actions.
Yes. And using English while you cook doesn't just build that specific vocabulary. The time pressure of cooking actually forces you to think faster.
Good point. No time to pause and translate if the onions are burning.
Exactly. So the guide encourages phrases like, I am cooking lunch now. I am cutting vegetables into small pieces. I am frying onions until they are golden.
I am stirring the soup so it doesn't stick.
These are very practical, immediate verbs that build towards more complex descriptions later.
Okay, so we've covered the active parts of the day, mornings, chores, cooking. What about downtime? Section 4, the relaxed mind. How do we keep the English practice going when we're just, chilling out without making it feel like homework?
Well, the temptation is obviously to switch off and go back to your native language completely.
Yeah, but the guide argues you need to maintain some active engagement. So even just describing your relaxation, I am resting now, I am watching a show, or I am reading a book.
Simple labeling still applies, but the real powerhouse here, according to the source, is focusing on your internal monologue.
Thinking in English, even when silent.
Yes. Continuing to have your inner life, your thoughts, your opinions, your little debates with yourself happen in English, that's the ultimate test, really. Bypassing translation completely.
And that forces more complex language, doesn't it? You can't just stay in the present continuous if you're thinking about a movie plot or a book's argument.
Absolutely not. Your internal commentary has to move into past tenses, maybe conditionals, future thoughts. You're practicing critical thinking in English.
Like, this movie was interesting because...
The director used a lot of symbolism, or maybe this book is difficult, but if I keep reading, I will learn new words.
Yeah.
You're using sophisticated structures naturally, without pressure.
And every sentence like that, even just thought, gets you closer.
Every single one. It reduces that friction, that need to translate bit by bit. Okay, so the foundation is clear. Consistency, low stakes, linking language to action. Section 5 brings us to the advanced boosters, making sure this isn't just basic repetition forever. What are the key techniques to strengthen this home method? Right, taking it up a level. It really comes down to repetition with self-assessment, especially focusing on pronunciation and rhythm, which silent practice can miss.
We mentioned shadowing. Shadowing is key. But the source also stresses two others. Consciously repeating specific sentences you hear,
Right.
and like maybe from a movie or the news. Trying to nail the delivery.
Okay.
Okay. And the big one, recording your own voice. Ah, yes. The often painful but necessary step. You suddenly hear all the little things, the awkward pauses.
It's probably the single best feedback loop you can create for yourself. Record yourself describing a chore, maybe summarizing that book you read, then listen back, maybe compare it to a native speaker's sound clip.
That's real deliberate practice.
It really is. That's how you move from just being understood to actually sounding more natural, more fluent. You start noticing intonation, sentence stress, rhythm.
So connecting all these techniques,
Yeah.
the daily habits, the shadowing, the recording, what's the absolute bottom line? What's the one thing you must have for this whole approach to work?
So what does this all mean? When you boil it all down, the core requirement isn't perfect grammar. It's not even having a huge vocabulary initially.
Okay.
It's sheer unapologetic consistency, day in, day out, coupled with a positive attitude, a willingness to just try, even if it feels silly or imperfect at first.
Just keep doing.
You have to commit to doing the stuff even badly sometimes every single day. That consistency builds the habit. The habit makes it feel easier, less effortful.
Reduces the cognitive load.
Exactly. And that reduced effort, that automaticity, that's what fluency feels like. Using English at home daily builds the confidence you need to speak up when it counts.
Okay, so let's quickly recap the core message from this deep dive then. Basically, the barrier to start in fluency practice is zero. Use your home, use repetition, use your normal daily life.
Waking up, washing, cooking, cleaning, even resting.
Yeah, integrate English into all of it, naturally. Don't wait for the perfect partner or class. Just start describing the mundane things around you.
Keep practicing at home. Keep shadowing things you listen to. Keep talking, even if it's just to yourself or thinking in English. Progress might feel slow at first. That's normal. But every single simple sentence, spoken or thought, is a step. It's a physical reinforcement. Language only grows if you actually use it consistently.
And as we wrap up today, we want to leave you, our listener, with one final thought. Based on this method's focus on immediate action, it requires you to do something right now.
Yeah, commit to doing this immediately. The second this deep dive ends, you're probably going to do something, right? Stand up, check your phone, grab a drink.
Yep.
What is that very next specific simple action you're going to take? Decide right now what simple English sentence you'll use to describe it out loud.
Use that present continuous tense.
Exactly. Acknowledge the action. I am standing up. I am picking up my phone. Whatever it is. Start your fluency boost right now, today.